Cardinals opening day.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I took the train out to St. Louis because they were coming back here Saturday. So I'm like, there's no point in both of us driving back.
How fun was that?
Well, I spent the whole train ride watching this.
What I have left of it. Good to see you.
Oh, Jennifer sings later.
Sorry, I'm kind of like tight to you there.
The back row was taken. I got here too late.
Oh, it's a full house this time.
It was a good opening day. 31.
I was going to ask you. Oh, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, I'm like
That's a lot of
I was
action.
about ready to leave in the seventh
I
inning.
just wore that the other day, by the way.
This one.
Thank you again.
I guess it's good and reflective as well. It's
Well, that's true.
better than, I don't know if you got this one, but did you get the black hoodie that had the black embroidery? Did you
No,
get that?
I got that
there's-
one, the zip up.
Well, there's one like, I don't know who the hell did this, but they had it embroidered
just
in
like
black
that.
on a black hoodie.
They had
So you
what?
could- It was black on black.
Oh, no,
Well, at least
mine's
that's the
gray.
gray.
Yeah,
The other
mine's
one was
gray.
like black on black, and so you couldn't see it.
Oh,
And like, well, the officers don't want to. In public, I was like, I get that. They don't need a hoodie. Hoodies. That was a good opening day.
cool. Did they win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came back.
Who'd they play?
7-1, Tampa Bay. And then came back that same inning. This is a long inning. But
What's going on, sir?
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm assuming Kevin might be just running behind a little bit. So I'll give him a few more minutes. If not, we can always roll and kind of start from there.
Okay, start without him?
I'll give him a few more.
Yeah, yeah.
Don Kramer. Anthony Bologna.
Here.
Natalie Scholl.
Here.
Jason Word.
Here.
James Godwin.
Here.
Scott Lakin.
Okay, let's talk about the meetings, the minutes from last meeting. Do I have a motion on that? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And then let's move on to, I've got public comments. I'm assuming, do we have any from the internet?
Yes.
Okay.
The comment reads, "I'm interested to know if the review commission is specific to the county only, or does their interest also include villages within the county? Thank you."
County only. I can answer that.
Did you hear that? Okay. Mr. Grant, nice to see you, sir. All right, so let's move into our discussion items for the night. And we're going to start with Article 5. Non-elected offices. And we'll start with Section 5.01, non-elected offices designated. The offices, everybody can read that, obviously. We're going to just, does anybody have any comments on that? Okay, I don't see any. We'll move on to Section 502, transition of offices, and open that up for discussion among the commission.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
do we need that article?
Which one? On 502?
502?
Mr. Graham, can you shed any light on that?
Whether it still needs to be included?
Yes, sir.
I can tell you, I've been thinking about this more. I'm inclined to not want to add a lot of changes for the sake of changes to the document, because everything we put in has to be voted on. And that expands what we're asking the voters to consider. And we might lose, if we add a lot of minutia about, this section, which isn't all that important anymore because we've had the transition, but now we're going to go through the process of removing it. I do worry that we are adding too many things that the voters are going to get lost in, instead of focusing on the things that substantively need to change. So that would be my initial thought.
Thank you.
So if a section's not changed, it won't show up in the ballot language? It's not like the entire
Correct.
Constitution is in there? It's
Correct.
This section changed from this to this?
Yeah, so we'll generally take an approach that is submitting the entire document for the voters again. Probably publish it like we did last time, something of that nature. But the actual ballot language will be limited to the things that are being changed. And they won't be verbatim in the ballot language, because again, that ballot language might be page after page, and we don't want that. We want the ballot language to be a descriptive paragraph that talks about what is going to, if you vote on this, this is what it's going to change, but they're also going to have the opportunity to access the full document well before that.
Okay.
Anything else on that?
I think we have it updated if we can, but I understand.
Okay, so you're not asking us to do anything on that? Okay. Is there any public comment on that section? Anyone open it up to the public? I don't see any. So we'll move on to section 503, appointment of offices, county clerk, treasurer, collector, recorder of deeds, and open it up to the commission for discussion. Anybody on the north side? Scott? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh, well, you won't be the only one. All right, any public comment on 503? I don't see any. So we'll move on to section 504, appointment of office, public administrator, and open it up to the commission for comment. North side. I don't see any. Not yet. South side. Anybody got any comments? Have any comments? No? Okay. Public. Any public comment?
And Mr. Bologna,
Yes,
I
sir.
wonder, it might be appropriate to make just an introductory comment here. because I do sense there's a lot of folks here to talk on this, both probably for and against. I guess I just want to make sure everybody understands the point of this conversation is to focus on whether the Constitution needs to be amended as opposed to a larger personnel discussion about the current public administrator. Because that's not really, these 7 folks here can't do anything about a personnel discussion, really. What they can do is talk about whether or not this Constitution needs to be changed. And I understand, and we understand, that necessarily there might be some overlap between those concepts. But I do want to please request that everyone try to stay focused on what this document needs to be changed to, if anything, if any changes need to happen. So with those comments, maybe.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you. So. Yes?
You're going to start with the north side or the south side?
South side, apparently. Yes, thank you. I see someone getting up, so.
Thank you. My name is Rita Richards. And currently in Article 5, sorry, I'm nervous. I didn't think I'd be going first. It talks about how the public administrator would be appointed by the judges, and then the county commissioners approve that. And I just feel that whenever the public administrator answers and is before the judge all the time, that there needs to be some checks and balances in that. Because if a judge appoints and recommends a certain person to be the public administrator, then how can that judge be fair and unbiased then when they've appointed this person? And so that's why I've talked some with Teresa about that the hiring process begin with a search for suitable candidates, and to have a committee to narrow down that application process to 3 to 5 suitable candidates for the commissioners or for the committee to decide on. And that committee would be made up of 1 judge, a county administrator, the county administrator, sorry, and a member of the public who has a family member in the guardianship system, because these are the people that it really affects. And 1 professional who specializes in developmental disabilities. And I would also add that a county commissioner should be on this committee, and that would be 5 people to give it some balance on that. In this way, I feel like it would be, whenever you go to hire a new commissioner, that would be more fair and not biased. Like I said, if the judge is appointing, then I don't see how there's bias there, because they've already said, we like this person, we want this person, and that there should be more parties involved in that decision. And also, I think it should be kept in the Constitution. I knew I just want to say something else about currently the removal of the public administrator should be a vote by the county commission. I think that should remain in there if for some reason they find that the county public administrator is not doing their job. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on this side of the room? Or I guess I should open it up. Did anybody, ma'am, if you don't mind, is there anybody that has questions for her about anything she just said? Okay, sorry, thank you. Anyone else from this side of the room that would like to speak on them?
I'm on this side.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Teresa Lemming, and with some discussion with Rita and other members of the ZAC PAC, part of why we want to do this commission is to give more people knowledge about the public administrator, to have a bigger stake. I, in my work experience, have found it impossible to supervise someone whose position I don't have a stake in, that I wasn't involved in their hiring or anything like that. And currently, the judges pick the person, the commission rubber stamps that decision, and nobody really has a huge stake in it besides the judges. And that was the basis of thought behind the thoughts for the commission and who's on, or the committee rather, and who's the different types of people to make up that committee.
Thank you. Well, if you don't mind, are there any questions from the commission? Go ahead.
What was the name of the group you said? You said there's a group of folks.
Oh, the ZAC PAC?
Zach Pack, okay. What's that in general? Sorry, put you on the spot here.
They are a group of people who have family members involved with the guardianship program. And Zach was a part of the guardianship program who had some very bad outcomes.
Okay.
And this is kind of in his honor.
Appreciate it, thank you.
To prevent any more bad outcomes if humanly possible.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone on the other side of the room? Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, and thank you for asking me to be here for a Constitution review. And my name is Debbie Gwynn. I am a National Certified Guardian, and I was the former public administrator when it was an elected position. I served in that position since from 2005 till 2016. However, before that, I was in the office since 1988, so almost a total of 29 years before I was forced to retire at the age of 57 due to an election that nobody understood about what the public administrator's office did and how they served the most vulnerable clients in this county. And the demands on that position 24/7 with a staff to help with the case manager. And you have case managers that have between 60 and 70 clients apiece, and they should only have by state statutes, but it's never been done before, of no more than 50. And I know that because I was the former president of the Missouri Association of Public Administrators. I was also a member of the National Guardianship Association, where you become a certified guardian or a master certified guardian. And I had that in my budget that I was a member, which I know the current public administrator does. She is a member of that association. But it is very, very important to keep that in the budget because when I left office, that was taken out of the budget because the individual in that office didn't think that that was the be-all, end-all. That's what she said when we were running for election. But I'm very passionate about this office, and it should remain appointed by the court in bank with a panel of judges. And Rita, I understand you want a bunch of individuals on this committee, but you can't just have somebody from the developmentally disabled group. You also need to look at Beacon Mental Health for mental health resources. You also need to look then for the Alzheimer's Association for individuals and older adults who have dementia. You need to have head trauma, for brain injury. There is an array of all kinds of individuals that you are appointed on, not to mention the young conservators that you are taking care of their money until they reach the age of 18 because their parents have died in a motorcycle accident and their biological mother and father were never married, but there's insurance money and the insurance company does not want to give them the money, so they give it to the public administrator till they reach the age of 18. There's an array of all kinds of cases besides just developmentally disabled individuals. You can tell how passionate I am about this office because it was devastating to lose an election where I did have name recognition, I did have the qualifications, I did have the certifications, I did have the awards that I won nationwide for putting together the first restoration program in the state of Missouri they've ever had. And all the current public administrators now still use that restoration program for individuals that are able to take accountability for their lives, whether they want a full restoration or whether they want a limited guardianship. And we have changed so many people's lives because of that restoration program that was established in Clay County. And a lot of people don't know about the public administrator's office until they have to know about the public administrator's office. It's a tireless and thankless job, but it is so rewarding. And I can't tell you the amount of times it really touched me to know that those individuals were cared for. And they always told me, Debbie, you're the only one that ever wanted to listen to me or sent a Christmas card or a birthday card. I mean, they do so many different things that you all have no idea what they do. Those case managers and the conservators. I mean, planning funerals, I don't know how many funerals I had to plan because there was nobody there. So this position needs to stay as court appointed by the court and bank. I don't know what else I could have to say, but I have had so many notes and I went off cue because I am so passionate about this position. The codes of standards, the code of ethics between the National Guardianship Association, which I'm just so proud of Alexa for being a member and having that in her budget again. So, thank you.
Do you mind holding for just 1 second? I think you're getting ready to walk away. But is there any questions from the commission?
I have a
Yes.
question. Well, I would like to say thank you for your service and everything that you have done. And I know it's been pointed out to me as well that the judges work very closely on these things and they know what's happening. I've been on the Clay County Domestic Violence Board, and I have met with judges a number of times because they do care, and they have been there trying to work with nonprofits to provide women with different things that they need when they're leaving an abusive situation. And I've seen that, and I've seen the care and, you know, everything that's poured into that. So thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate that because my personal experience has been the same. So I like what you're saying as far as they're in the know and
The public administrator's office has to do what's in the best interest of that individual, and they also have to be placed in the least restrictive environment. And let me tell you, there are not enough open beds in the state of Missouri to take care of all these individuals. So you complain because nobody's in Clay County? Well, that's because you don't have a facility that will take them and that can meet their needs. That's why a lot of them are in St. Louis or Farmington or South Missouri. I had an individual that I moved to Texas so she could be close to her brother. And they would report, and I would have someone from that guardianship program down there in Texas because of my connections within National Guardianship Association, and they would help me do and complete that annual status report. I moved a teacher that was retired, kindergarten teacher, back to Pennsylvania because the family was fighting, and I moved her back to Pennsylvania where she had a street named after her because she was a wonderful kindergarten teacher and she could be with her other 5 children. I was still the guardian, but I worked for a couple years to find an appropriate guardian that can work with the family, and I could transfer that case. So there's a lot of dynamics that can be done, and the judges are the ones to help us get that done, whether it's in the state of Missouri or Pennsylvania or Texas. It's amazing what you can do if you have the right resources.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Debbie, I too congratulate you and thank you for your service on that. You're not advocating that the public administrator should be an elected position again, are you?
No, I'm never going to advocate for that ever again.
Okay.
That is hard work.
It's very disruptive.
And you have to raise a lot of money, and you have to ask attorneys, and it's very, very hard to conduct your own business, and then, because it's 24/7, and then run a campaign.
Yeah.
And people are not educated on what a public administrator is because they always thought I was a county administrator. And I said, I wish, because I would get a heck of a lot more money than I do with public administrator. So,
It's hard to
I
put that
mean,
on a bumper sticker.
when the person running against me in 2016 had to do a sunshine request on the description of my position, there's something wrong with that. So, I lived it, and this is the reason why you all are here to put that together in 2020, because of what happened in 2016. I was the only elected official that year that did not win their reelection. And that's why I'm here, is to tell you the history. And I was first appointed in 2014 on the individual that Rita is speaking about. And I had to
There was
move
a
him
public-
out of a horrible situation.
Yeah, there was a public administrator in Platte County that served a long, long time. I'm trying to remember her name now. Probably 15 years ago, she did not run for reelection, but she taught me a lot about, and I know the stress and I know the awkward situations that you're put in a lot of times because of that. Let me run a quick idea by you, and I'm kind of thinking out loud. I agree. I think the judges should be involved. And you got to be careful because you get people that don't agree with the judge's decision, so, they make it their life mission to do something else or disrupt things. But the judges are, when they're appointed, and Anthony knows this, I think they nominate 3 judges to go before the governor for appointment.
Yes.
And would there be any value in the judges nominating 3 qualified people to be public administrator and then let the county commission choose the one of the 3 that they feel is most qualified or would be the best fit? And the reason I say that is, you're right, there's a lot of angles to, and people under different circumstances that have to go into a guardianship type situation. And it seems to me that would give some flexibility as far as, with experience and all that. But we could kind of turn it around on the judges and have a little bit more flexibility and a little bit, they could nominate 3 people. They could review the qualifications and say, of the 5 people that applied, these 3 are the best or whatever. Does that sound like that could work, or that would be a better situation?
When there was an opening, because my successor, who was elected, 2 years later, she went for state rep. She didn't win. And then once she was reelected in 2020, she resigned in July of 2021. I had 3 judges calling me saying, Debbie, do you want your old job back? And I said, no, I'm perfectly fine as being the executive director of the Platte County Senior Fund that takes care of individuals in Platte County, 60 and older, to remain in their own homes.
Yeah.
I'm still a Clay County resident. I am still a Clay County resident,
Yeah.
but I work in Platte County.
Yeah.
And I said, I enjoy that work.
Yeah, but this lady was there in the, it was like 2015, and she resigned to, I think, start the organization you're executive director on, if I'm not mistaken.
No, the executive director where I work, we've been around since 1994. It's just like Clay County Senior Services, Tina Urich.
Yeah, I was on that board for a while.
Yeah, you're on that board, yeah. So
Yeah, Tina.
I think the judges can make, that appropriate decision, but 3 judges, getting the panel to have 3 candidates, I think that's a good idea. I just think that when you have too many people trying to make a decision, like was previously suggested, there's too many people,
Yeah.
and you've got to keep it simple.
'Cause there are judges like yourself that dedicate themselves, to this type of work, or dedicate themselves to the drug court, or, those
Right.
kinds of things. And I think there's value in
And
that.
juvenile,
Yeah, that's the other one. And,
and CASA workers.
yeah, but you want to kind of shield it from the special interest too, as far as, this is my one issue, and we want somebody that we'll only address that issue, but I think we can think of it a little bit broader. I'm going to ask Damon this, and Kevin, is there a problem now with the public administrator? I haven't heard anything or any rumblings from the current. Okay, boy, you guys.
Yeah, I think that that is of opinion. I think anybody can have a problem with something dependent upon it.
Yeah.
But as far as anything that we've seen received from the judges, which is what this asked for through, I have not received any issues regarding that.
And I agree with Kevin that, it's not our job to get involved in that controversy. It's our job to make sure this, whatever system to pick is a fair system, can be addressed. Since they're not up for election anymore, you can't address it through an election, but if it's a big enough problem, you've got the authority to make a change. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, but I have one thing others to say about the conflict between individuals and the office. I think like they are in family support where you have divorces, you should have mediation. And having, people there to talk out and work through that conflict, to go to the conference room, to go and talk and have everybody, all the parties come together like we have done in the past. But it's just like that in a situation where you have two parties that see different, and I think a conflict can always be resolved. You just have to be willing to make that program try to work and make that situation to come out with the best benefits for both parties. So anyway, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? Can Rita ask question? Oh.
I think if we're going to have comments, they need to come up to the podium, and I don't know if we need to open comments that aren't regarding the
Well, I was
proposal
very,
on
very
stage.
happy at Platte County Senior Fund as the executive director, helping elderly age in place. So, and there was people in the office that were capable of doing that. So, thank you.
Is there anyone else that has comments related to the Constitution?
I guess first let me introduce myself. My name is Payman Aramju, and I've had the pleasure of representing the Public Administrator's Office since 2018. I remember back some time ago when Alexa was actually being selected as the Public Administrator, and I came and spoke over there, and I said, I think the Public Administrator in many respects is sort of society's underground superhero, and that you literally have people that are unable to care for themselves, that are essentially brought to their door and are tasked to now be cared for. And it's really a remarkable thing if you just imagine for a second that tonight someone knocks on your door and says, here's somebody who can't take care of themselves, and now I expect you to take care of them. And I think what's really critical when you all are analyzing how do you replace or how do you put somebody in the position is how important it is that the person who opens that door is the same person. Because you can imagine if you drop a person off at somebody's house today and then a different house tomorrow and a different house tomorrow, the care is not going to be consistent. And so often when we talk about medical care and caring for individuals that can't care for themselves, that continuity of care is so important. I mean, I can tell you the Public Administrator's Office, they know these people throughout. They know their name, they know their location, they know their care needs. And when you have a situation where you're constantly replacing people, you don't have that continuity of care. I think that's critical, especially when you're dealing with individuals who have limited competency and develop really remarkable relationships with the people that care for them. Alexa had mentioned something. There's note in here about removal of the public administrator and that it could have been by vote of the county commission. I think she mentioned that it may be good to also have a supervising county administrator and a circuit judge be involved in that process rather than just the commission. I will say this, I've had the pleasure, I say that lightly, of having many contested hearings in front of Chamberlain. And the court often doesn't rule in our favor. So the idea that there's this partiality and that Judge Chamberlain, at least for now, is unable to make an impartial decision is so far-fetched. This is a man with extreme integrity, and he takes it upon himself to read each and every letter that every single ward writes the court. Now, you can imagine how many letters that is and what the task is, but what that means is that you have judges on the bench that care remarkably about what happens. And these judges are more than happy to call out people when they're not doing what they should do. And so I think the current arrangement as it is, it's been successful in my opinion. I think we have a judge that's scrutinizing the process, that's monitoring, that's giving people in this room an opportunity to be heard. And those outcomes aren't always what they want them to be. And that's the way the court works. Sometimes it goes in your favor, sometimes it doesn't, but the most important thing is that you have judges that are willing to hear people out so that you feel like you had your day in court. And I can tell you, particularly in the cases and the people here, we've spent many days in court on these issues. And we have judges that are really listening to the people that are interested in these matters. So thank you all for the ability for me to make comment. Absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully you have good thoughts. Yeah, first name is Paymon, last name is Aramju. We have a practice across from Ginger Sue's, and since 2018 I've worked with the office. There we go. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anyone else that would like to make comment?
I'm sorry, I prepared a statement regarding the Constitution.
Sure.
Hello, thank you so much. My name is Michelle Anaya, and I'm here today specifically because of the proposed Constitution changes regarding how the public administrator is selected and hired in Clay County. And I want to begin by saying that I am genuinely encouraged by what I am seeing. I am grateful that this issue is being taken seriously enough to consider meaningful changes, and I am grateful that families are being heard. To see real discussion, real review, and real action beginning to take place is deeply encouraging to me. I also understand that there have been efforts made to improve how future placement decisions are documented and justified. I believe that it is appropriate and important as well. And I want to be clear that I do see those things as meaningful steps in the right direction. That matters. And I am truly thankful to see movement happening. At the same time, it is important to say clearly, these steps, while meaningful, still do not fully address the deeper problem. Because the deeper problem is not simply how a public administrator gets into office, and it is not only whether better procedures exist for future placements. The deeper problem is what happens once the authority is in place, and when accountability exists, when current wards and their families are already living under decisions that have long-term, life-altering consequences. That is the issue families have been trying to bring forward. And that is why I am asking the committee to think not only about who is appointed in the future, but also about the people already living under the system right now. Because current wards matter too. And so do the families trying to advocate for them. My brother Jeffrey is one example of why this proposal by itself is not enough. Jeffrey has had lifelong learning and behavioral challenges. He has been vulnerable for much of his life, and my mother sought help, believing the system would protect him and support him towards stability and a better quality of life. Instead, he has spent nearly 2 decades being moved deeper into institutional life. He was sent to Fulton State Hospital despite no criminal conviction. He spent about 10 years there, and after that, instead of being moved towards something more appropriate and more integrated, he was transferred even further from home to Southeast Missouri Mental Health Center. And when I asked what the plan for his life was, I was told something I will never forget, that if Jeffrey ever worked out of one facility, he would simply be moved to another one. Not home, not community, not independence, just another institution. This is not treatment, this is warehousing. And I need to be very clear, Jeffrey is not free to go anywhere. He stays in the facility at all times. He cannot decide who he sees. He cannot decide how long he is allowed to be on the phone. He cannot decide what he eats. Even simple things most of us take for granted, like watching our favorite shows, enjoying a good movie, or having small comforts that make life feel human, are not his to choose. Every aspect of his life is controlled and used as a tool to try to generate better behavior, despite the fact that he has not progressed through the system's levels in many years. And I believe that matters, because progress within a system is not always the same thing as progress in life, especially in the system, if the system itself is not designed to produce the kind of progress a person may actually be capable of. Even what I am allowed to send him is controlled. Every part of his life is controlled. And the same level of control extends to his medical care and major life decisions, while family is largely shut out. Jeffrey is someone who needs support understanding medical information, asking the right questions, and making sense of what doctors are telling him. But I have not been allowed meaningful involvement in his care.
I'm not trying to be rude, and I'm sorry to interrupt. The focus of the meeting tonight is the Constitution. Any thoughts on change?
This is my thoughts on change. We need more oversight. This proposal alone is not the fix.
If you have comments that you'd like to make about the section that we're on, and maybe if you have thoughts on something that needs change, that's what we're talking about. So if you would please focus to that.
Yes, sir. And as I stated, this is exactly what I'm talking about. They were allowed the time in order to express why they believed their side of the change. I'm expressing why I feel that this is, I'm supporting the change for the committee. I am in support, but we also need oversight. I'm supporting the change that it's not just a judge that they're appointing, that there is a committee involved with the commissioner. Things like Ms. Rita has suggested, I'm in support of that. Yes. May I continue?
If it's directly related to the reason that you want, you're on board with that recommendation, yes. I'm not in any way, like I said, trying to do this.
Okay, I will wrap this up and I will simply say we need more oversight. There's a lot of important points I have here that I really desperately want to make and be heard, because my brother's voice has been completely shut out. My call since I have spoke to the commission in January.
What do you think about the change that's being recommended?
I'm approving of that, is what I'm saying. I think, well, I will tell you, my brother has had an attorney. Given the current situation, he has had an attorney by Missouri Protection and Advocacy. And at that time he had this attorney, the judge that appointed the public administrator deemed that all of their wards were incompetent, therefore could not have attorneys. And so my brother then lost his attorney, therefore losing his voice. Thank you.
I think if you want true change, you're going to have to change state statutes. So it's not just Clay County. Clay County can't not do this. It's going to have to be the state statute, because you all think that the system is broken, but you should see other states the way they operate. Missouri is far above some of the other states in this whole United States.
So I do have a question, I guess.
Ms. Gwen, or just?
No, for, I guess maybe Kevin or Damon.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
So I've learned a lot here, listening, and I just want to clarify what is going on in this section, right? So we have a sentence that says the public administrator shall be appointed by the Clay County Commission, right? But then we've heard comments that lend themselves to then the next sentence down, right? That says the circuit judges meeting in bank are authorized to recommend a qualified person for the position, and if made, the county commission shall hire the person recommended by the circuit court judges. So this means the judges can, if they want.
If
It
they
sounds
choose,
like
yeah.
they
did.
do or did.
Yep.
And so then the commission just appoints that person.
Right.
Okay. And so then as we go down, and there was a comment about removal of the public administrator. So one sentence up from that, it says, or two sentences up, the public administrator shall report to the county administrator.
Yeah.
In supervising the public administrator, the county administrator shall consult with the judges, okay? Then the next sentence, removal of the public administrator shall be by a vote of the county commission. Now, I think there was a comment in here that said, hey, maybe that should also include the judges. So is it not the case in here that is already included because of the sentence prior in supervising?
You mean that the county administrator supervises?
Can
So the county, so if, let me kind of.
There's a lot going on here.
There is.
Like 5 sentences,
And
right?
you can probably guess, just from the room that we're in, the emotion of this one office. I'll tell you, I've been a lawyer for 33 years here in Clay County. It is my personal, and I've been involved in Clay County government for chunks of that time.
Mm-hmm.
It's my personal belief that the Clay County Public Administrator position is the single hardest position in Clay County. It is unbelievably difficult. You know, we can survive a mediocre recorder of deeds. We don't have one. We have a great great recorder of deeds. But we can survive a mediocre one. We can survive a mediocre county clerk. We don't have one. We have a great county clerk, but we can survive that. If we have a mediocre public administrator, people are harmed. People who can't defend themselves, people who can't take care of themselves are harmed. And it's a thankless job, and people have no idea what the job is. And this was something we spent 5.5 years ago, a lot of time. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out a way to do something that made sense. Because to be honest, I didn't want, just my personal, I didn't want the judges to be involved in too much. I thought it was good to have them involved in like the hiring side, because they do know that. They know those people more than anyone else. The consultation with the county administrator I thought made sense, because the county administrator probably doesn't have a great sense of what that job entails. I didn't like the idea of the judges being involved in the termination, primarily because there needs to be some separation, because that office is in front of those judges all the time. I tried to come up with a concept that I thought brought the judges into it, the county administrator into it, and the county commission into it. Because
Isn't it an easier review process too if there are issues? Thank you. Isn't it an easier review process as well? If there are issues and you've got a bad duck and people want to come in and voice it, they can come into the county administrator.
100%.
As opposed to like trying to catch it, go to an in-bank meeting, or, and get it.
Yeah, and the problem with that is that if you want to go to an in-bank meeting to complain about an employee, in the public administrator sense, that means cases that are in front of those judges. And the judges are going to say, we can't talk to you about individual cases. We're not allowed to. There is a process. It's the court process. And so this was an incredibly complicated office, difficult office, and a really difficult way to try to set it up. And that's what we did. And I'll tell you personally, I don't love the idea of a 3-appointment choose. I find that probably difficult because I think it will interject politics into the appointment, and I just think this position is so difficult that we can't afford to have just a mediocre person. We've got to have the best person that's willing to do the job to do it.
So one follow-up question that it triggered when the person was giving the comment. In nearly every other place in the document where the commission is removing a person from a role, it is by supermajority. And this one
it isn't.
Isn't. And
Could be.
so
I mean, I'm not strongly
if
on.
there was a reason that when you guys wrote this before that one wasn't and the others were, or
Not really. So some of the other positions can be more political, and so some of those positions we're trying to remove politics as much as we can.
Okay.
This one, I wouldn't have an objection to supermajority. I wouldn't, but
just a question.
there was nothing particularly really dug in on that one.
Thanks.
Did anybody else have a comment on the commission on that? Okay, ma'am, yeah, if you want to step back up. Thank you.
And again, my name is Rita Richards. I have been a special education teacher for 25 years. I recently came out of retirement to do my job again because somebody quit the day before school, and so I'm doing my job again. And even this year in retirement, I received another award, the Relentless Champion Award for the North Kansas City School District. I also, like Debbie Gwynn, am very passionate about having people with disabilities cared for. And I feel like I'm a qualified person to voiceless concerns, and I know best practices on how to work with people with disabilities. And as Debbie said too, this encompasses far more than just people with disabilities. It's mental health, drug addiction, all kinds of things. And I do understand, I mean, at first I did not understand the position in 2014 when one of my students, Zach, was placed under guardianship. I didn't really understand the scope of it. I just thought this is definitely, I mean, better than home. And I stayed involved in his life. And that's what needs to happen. Right now, the state of Missouri, the Department of Justice has investigated the state of Missouri and their undue guardianships that they have in place, and that it's so difficult for people to get out of guardianship, even when they have family advocating for them and trying to do that, and that has happened here in Clay County. My student, his roommate tried to stab him with a screwdriver in 2019, and we went to court and we did all of that.
Ma'am, I have to interrupt you.
I know, but when he stabbed
when I
7
interrupt you,
times
then you
with a
have-
kitchen knife,
Okay, that'll be the end of
the public administrator's not doing their job, and I just want
That's the end of
to,
your comment, ma'am.
Pardon?
Have a seat, please. Have a seat.
they need more
Thank
input.
you. Thank you.
It can't be a closed
Okay.
system.
Have a seat. Anything else from the commission on 504? All right, we're going to, anybody have any recommendations of any kind they want to raise? I don't see any.
I think
Oh, go ahead.
that the only recommendation I would raise for consideration is removal by supermajority, but I just to make it consistent with the others, but
Okay.
it's just from what I've heard here.
Okay. Is there anyone else in favor of that idea? I don't see that there is, so we will move on to the next section, which we are now going to move on to Article 6, Administrative Departments and Organizations. And we'll start 601, General Provisions. The activities of the county shall be distributed among such departments and divisions as are established, et cetera. Is there anyone on the commission that would like to make comment on that section? I don't see any, and I'll open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make a comment on that section? I don't see any. So we'll move on to 602, Department Directors. I'll open that up to the the commission for comment. Any on the north side? No. Any on the south side? No. Thank you. Anyone in the public have comment on sections 6.02? I don't see any. Thank you. We'll move on to section 6.03, County Counselor, and open up to the commission any comment or discussion. Anyone on the north side? No. South side? No. Anyone from the public have comment on section 6.03? I don't see any. Thank you. We will move on. Section 6.04, reorganization of county government administration, open to the commission. North side, I don't see any. South side, I don't see any. Public, any comments from the public? I don't see any. Thank you. We will move on to section 6.05, boards and commissions, and open that up for comment or discussion from our commission. Anyone on the north side? No. South side? No. Okay. That is the end of the discussion related to section 6, and brings us back to, how are we doing on time? We had a hard, okay. I think
We're good.
Still okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll now turn to Article 4, which was a section that we previously discussed and said we would come back to. So let's do that. Elected offices, open for discussion among the commission, please.
Particular
Yeah, I think that.
section.
Do you want me to? I think that's primarily, we were looking at the pay situations.
I think so.
on section-
4.06, right?
Yes.
Compensation.
Yep, a compensation, section 4.06, and it was A and B that we had focused on last time and agreed that we were going to come back and
Right.
reopen the discussion.
That's right.
Okay. Did you all bring anything you wanted us to consider?
I think you had it last time. I don't think there's anything new
Okay.
on that. I can tell you that internally, staff, and we've had a lot of discussions in the last couple weeks about this. I don't know that there's a clear consensus. I mean, this is, everybody understands kind of what we'd like to get to, the vehicle to get there. I don't know that there's kind of a consensus coming out of at least our side yet. I certainly, I might actually suggest that we might pass on this for one more week, because I think there's some additional discussions that would probably be really helpful, and
Okay.
with some of the commission and with some of the office holders.
Does anyone on the commission on the north side here have an issue with bumping it another week so that we can get that taken into consideration?
I don't have any problem with that. Kevin, can I give you verbiage that I wrote up for you just to look at over that we can talk about next week?
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect, yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe they should go ahead and state it now, so others will know.
And Natalie, do you have verbiage now? Do you want to, just at least maybe, we could do you want to get the concept out there just so people hear it? Okay, happy to do it. So this is, I'll just read it out if everybody, okay?
Sure, thank
So
you.
this will be a concept that we'll also consider. This would change, part of a rewrite of 406. The auditor and assessor and sheriff and the prosecutor will be paid a salary set by the county commission as part of the annual budget process. However, the auditor and assessor shall be paid a salary that is not less than the salary paid to the offices on December 31st. Sheriff and prosecutor shall be paid a salary not less than 10% above the top step under sheriff and deputy chief assistant prosecuting attorney, respectively. The auditor and assessor and sheriff and prosecutor may receive in-term salary increases authorized by the salary commission, provided that such increases do not exceed the average cost of living adjustment paid to the county employees. So that is something, I think, that's a concept that we've been working on as well, and I think would be helpful for us to maybe work on that a little bit.
Great. I think we're all in agreement that we'll bump that to the next session and give you guys time to do that.
Kevin, can
So
you
thank
get
you.
us, I'm sorry, can you get us a copy of that so we can all
Can I
see that
distribute
too
that? Yeah.
for the next section?
Well, let's get, before you leave, make sure you grab it, and we'll
Okay.
get some copies made.
And then I had a couple other questions that I would like to see maybe researched. And I know, like, we were talking about, you can't base the office and the pay around an individual. It's got to be for the public. But we were talking about putting some pay scales, looking at that, and then maybe doing some incentive for, like, education. And I think Damien was going to work on that. If you can maybe get us some of that in the meantime. I know, like, on the police department, if you have a master's degree, you get an extra $100 a month. So there's incentive that way. So I would like to see that ahead of time if you can come up with those recommendations that we can kind of look at before the next meeting.
Are you,
Not necessarily recommendations, but just the information.
Yeah, because I think we were talking about, or you were talking about maybe working on a pay scale where we, could get the sheriff up to.
But that's not something we would include in the Constitution, would it?
no.
The pay scale wouldn't be something we would want in this document, correct?
Well, but we were looking off of originally, and that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. Are we talking about,
Gotcha.
Just giving the commissioners the full reign? That was one. And then the other one, we were talking about the percentage of what they have been getting.
Gotcha.
And then I know a pay scale was mentioned. So
Got you. And we do have a pay scale, because I think initially, one of the discussions was the amount that's currently being paid, I think is $124,000. And I think that became, and one of the things you had that was given to you by the sheriff was compensation item he gave you. It was a packet with the different compensation of surrounding departments. But what you're asking for, Commissioner Kramer, is the steps that we received for the police officers, for the officers? Is that what you're asking? Okay.
Right.
All right. For law enforcement, we do have a step plan. We can give you a copy of that.
Thank you.
And I agree, it will not be included in any of it, but I think what you're trying to do is look to see what that compensation would look like in comparison. And those steps, when I send it to you, we'll explain on that what it looks like for law enforcement, which is different than our regular employees.
Okay, I think unless there's anything else, any other questions, or requests, then we'll move on to county administrator comments.
No additional comments. We have our next meeting scheduled April 14th, which is next Tuesday. That portion we will go over, let's see, 7. We'll come back over 4, because we won't be finished with that one. And the plan is 7, probably 7 and 8. I don't think we'll get to 9 and 10. So
4 and 7 next time?
4, 7, and 8.
Well,
What you think?
I think there's a really good chance just nobody's going to have much
Oh, 8 and 9.
thought on 7, 8, 9, and is there 10?
10.
10.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be surprised if there's a lot there that anybody wants to talk about. I would lump them all together in case
Yeah,
we
can
can
do
get
that.
through them. If we can't, we can't. But there's a real good chance that you're going to look at that and say, yeah, we're fine with this.
Okay, so you want to include all the way through?
7 through 10. I'd like to finish it and just see what's kind of where we are. I think there's a decent chance we might just get through all that.
So
Yeah, because I thought we said after next week's meeting, then you were going to work on
we'll take a
rewrite,
pause,
and there was
yep.
going to be a couple weeks.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll do 7, 8, 9, and 10 first in our agenda next week. And then put 4 at the end of that next week.
Thank you. And then do we want to wait until see how that all plays out before we pick our next date after the break?
I think so. 'Cause it may take a little bit of time to put together a document and kind of see where the uncertain points are that we want to come back and revisit. And during that time, I would encourage anybody on the commission who has a thought, even if we've already passed through it, you say, I've thought about it and I'd really like to revisit this issue, get that to us so we can put it on an agenda. Because I think we're getting close to where we hopefully are looking at kind of a document for everyone.
All right, the next item up is county council.
I don't think I have anything, and I don't think, at least as to 7, 8, 9, and 10, there's necessarily anybody we want to invite, like an office holder or department head. So I'll look through that, and I don't know that we need anybody.
Awesome, thank you. Before we move on to number 8, I just thank everybody from the public for being here. We had a good turnout tonight, and we appreciate the comments and the thoughts that go into that. And with that said, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.